A very sad one here in Lagos where a seven-story building under construction has collapsed at First Avenue in Banana Island area of Lagos State. The building caved in when the concreting for seventh floor was ongoing on Wednesday evening. 7 persons, all construction workers, were rescued while an undisclosed number of persons were still trapped at about 8:30 p.m. But emergency responders at the scene said only 1 person was still under the debris. The cause of the collapse was yet to be ascertained, but the Deputy Director of Public Affairs, Physical Planning and Urban Development, Musta Mukaila Sanusi, have declared that the building was unapproved. According to him, an unapproved 7-story building under construction collapsed in Banana Island, Lagos State. There was no fatality. Few victims who sustained injuries are being treated. This unfortunate incident happened while casting was being done. The collapsed building is one of the 3 high-rise structures under construction in the area. Speaking with newsmen after they were barred from gaining access to the site of the collapsed building, the special advisor to the governor on special duties and intergovernmental relations, Honorable Mobolaji Ogunlende, and the Director General, Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, Dr. Oluwafemi Osonyitulu, says emergency responders are doing everything possible to excavate the debris and ensure that nobody is trapped under the rubbles.
Upon getting to the scene, we realized that the building had come down. Our Lasambos were already on ground by the time I personally got here. They had treated about 7 to 8 minor injuries on getting to the scene, and a few of them that we felt needed to go to the hospital have, been taken to the hospitals last night, and many of them had minor injuries, and that is as far as injuries is concerned. In terms of fatalities, which you've asked, as of this moment, we have not recorded any fatalities as of this moment. We're here, our equipment are here. What we're trying to do now is to see how we can go through the rubbles very quickly to see if, and indeed, there are any fatalities that we can recover, as the case may be. The statement he gave to us, according to the CSO, is that they have done an accounting for all the people they expected to be on site, according to them, right? And according to them, all the people have been accounted for, according to them, and the only report they gave us was that 1 person has not been accounted for. However, they are not confirming if that person was on site or not. They are yet to confirm that. They have been trying to reach the number, and the number has been engaged, according to them. So that is what we're working with for now, until we, see anything otherwise.
And we got there. Our response time was 10 minutes. We moved in with our sophisticated equipment. We used Delta. The life side was divided into 4 quadrants. Now, and we checked each of the quadrant with our Delta, and we did not locate anybody under the debris with our Delta. However, because we are professionals and meticulous about what we are doing, we are using a hammer and excavator with cranes together. We started moving from one layer to another, and during this emergency response, we are able to rescue 7 people alive. Those people that are rescued were treated on the spot and discharged. It is only 1 that was taken to a private hospital where he's receiving adequate treatment. Yes. And if you can see that at the outer quadrant, we've already reached what we call ground zero. We are moving to the 2nd, 3rd, 4th quadrant, and believe me, we will get to ground zero in each of these quadrant to ensure transparency, to ensure that nobody is left, to ensure that the job is being done professionally.
We pray and hope no life is lost in this incident. And now joining us live from Abuja to discuss the building collapse is the Registered Council of Registered Builders of Nigeria, Carbon, Builder Tunji Adeniro. Good evening.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be with you.
All right, it's a very sad one. Another building has collapsed once again in Lagos. I mean, what is your view on this? Since building collapse is becoming a recurrent phenomenon in Nigeria, especially in Lagos State. What's your view about this?
It's quite an unfortunate situation. It's something that makes the heart sad every time it happens because it's an indictment on the entire building or built environment professionals in the country. So it's never something that gladdens the heart at all. And one can only hope that we get to the root of it and that we are able to deal with this situation such that we put paid to such occurrences.
What might you say is responsible for this building collapse? I mean, who should we be pointing fingers to at this point in time?
Well, again, as professionals, until we have the facts, we will not speculate on anything. But at this point, we can at least talk about the self-indicting statement credited to officials of the Physical Planning Authority, where it was said that the 7-story building was without approval. That, in my opinion, is a very self-indicting statement. There are procedures, there are laws in Lagos State that guide physical development. And there are indeed processes and procedures that should be followed before you scratch ground on a site to say you want to put a building there. And so for a building to have gone 7 upper floors without approval, that is definitely something of concern. If it was without approval, it meant it was completely outside the radar of physical planning or building control, as the case may be, in Lagos State. So for now, that such a structure should go up in such a location. This is not some remote area, that escapes attention. It's in, a highbrow part of Lagos. So it's quite concerning that such a thing was allowed to happen, to the extent that the building then eventually collapsed.
Talking about laws, I mean, since last year we've had several laws. We have the Lagos State government come out to give several laws. I mean, the engineers also, the engineers organizations, also engineering organization, I beg your pardon, has come out to give several laws also. I mean, what step can carbon take to stem the tide of building collapse?
Now, so carbon specifically regulates the building industry. That's what the Establishment Act asks carbon to do. And so one of the things we clamor as carbon is to say that the professionals who are trained to deliver service should be the ones who are engaged to deliver service. The process of construction, the process of producing a building is quite an intricate process, and there's a group of professionals who are trained and who are equipped to do it. And they do it not by guesswork, but as with every profession, they have trainings and documents by which they do the process of production. So there's a construction methodology, there is a health and safety plan, there's a quality management plan, there's a building program of works. These are tools that the builder uses normally to put up a building. But it's very important to say again that the process of building is a multidisciplinary venture. And so it's important that each professional who's involved respects the boundaries of their competencies. And I think that a collapse like the one that happened yesterday is yet another clarion call to professionals to team up to ensure that each one plays their role towards ensuring that we were able to put an end to this very unfortunate incident.
Do you think professionals are cutting corners to make this happen?
Sorry, I missed the early part
I
of the
mean,
question.
professionals, do you think they are cutting corners to make this happen? You know, such things like this were handled by professionals. Don't you think maybe they're cutting corners whereby they're not taking their work seriously?
Now, so if somebody is cutting corners, I would argue that they are not professionals. I would
Okay.
argue that they are quacks, because a professional understands the implication of every element of the building and why something is designed to be in a certain way. However, the point to make is that quackery does not mean that one did not go to school. So when someone is practicing what they are not licensed to practice, they are quacks to that extent. So if I, as a builder, because I learned to draw, I hold myself out to draw and design buildings, even though I'm a professional as a builder, I become a quack if I'm practicing architecture. So it's just the same way all through the built environment. There are several professionals involved. So we do have a situation which appears like there's some quackery, not because people are not trained, but because people are overstepping their bounds to do what they are not licensed to do. And then, of course, there are people who are not even part of the built environment in any of the 7 professions therein, who also involve themselves in construction because they've done this over time and gotten away with it. So back to your question, I will say that a professional, and I can vouch that a professional builder understands what it means to put up a structure, and you won't find one cutting corners like this.
All right, before I let you go, what will you propose as a solution to this recurrent building collapse in Nigeria?
I think it's important that people begin to be punished for things like this that happen. My ears have been full since yesterday when this happened. People say within a short while, all professional bodies would issue press releases. There's going to be a committee set up. 2 or 3 months down the line, we're back to business as usual. But I think the time has come to follow through, perhaps to test some of the establishment laws of the different professionals, like the establishment law for the Council of Registered Builders of Nigeria, to get judicial pronouncements as to someone should be held responsible for this, and
Exactly.
someone should be punished for this.
All right, thank you very much for being part of the news at this time.
Pleasure is all mine. Thank you.
And that was builder Tunji Adeniro, Registrar Council of Registered Builders of Nigeria.